Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat shalom to you who have joined us online for this first Shabbat of 5,783. Shabbat Hasinu. We just finished Yom Kippur and we're getting ready for Sukkot. So tomorrow morning the kids will decorate the Sukkot. Yeah, so tomorrow, if you're here tomorrow, we can help them. But tonight we are going to welcome Shabbat on page 75, and maybe can I ask Rebecca to light the Shabbat candle on page 75. Amen. The Sabbath, page 75, huh? The Sabbath is descended us. No, let me start again. The Sabbath has descended to enfold us in its mantle of peace. It brings to us a precious gift of time to embrace family and friends and community, to reflect more deeply on the meaning and purpose of our lives, and to worship in the beauty of holiness. May our Sabbath always be sanctuaries of love and devotion, bring contentment to our hearts, happiness to our homes, and blessing to our people. Page 76. Thank you, Vince, and thank you for playing the music tonight. It's always good to have music, whether it's guitar or piano. I wanted to read a few words from this book, Invoking Angels for Blessings, Protection and Healing, by Rabbi David Cooper. Rabbi David Cooper is an American rabbi who moved to Israel in the 90s, and he wrote this book about the angels because the song we just sang together is about invoking the angels on Shabbat. So this is what Rabbi Cooper writes. There are angels of all types: messengers, ministers, accusers, guardians, archangels, teachers, assistants, and so forth. The most ordinary type of angel is messenger, and the most prevalent message is simply be. whereas on the microscopic level they are angels for the smallest forms of matter. Of the macroscopic level, they are angels for forests, mountains, seas, nations, the moon, the sun, the solar system, celestial bodies, galaxies and constellations. There is an angel for everything, large or small, in the universe. Angels are not limited to this universe alone, and they span the various heavens and hells, and all that is outside of our limited understanding of time and space. The view of the ancient sages was that the harmonies and disharmonies of the universe were all forms of divine expression. That is to say that everything that happens in the universe is an expression of God, and all of these expressions are carried out by angels. Some angels last momentarily only, long enough to carry a short message. Other angels are long-lasting. For example, eternal angels called Ophanim, Seraphim, and Chayot attend to the highest throne in the heavenly realms. There are also well-known archangels like Michael, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, who are also eternal. There are additional eternal heavenly figures such as Metatron, Sandalphon, and Elijah. The Talmud teaches that every individual has a guardian angel. Every person has also an angel of destiny. A very popular Talmudic teaching in traditional Judaism says that two angels accompany a person to his or her home on the Sabbath eve. One is good and one is evil. If the house is set with a beautiful table and is well prepared to receive the Sabbath, then the good angel makes a blessing, may this house be like this as well for the Sabbath to come. In this instance, the evil angel must unwillingly say, Amen, as if it agreed with his blessing. On the other hand, if the house is unclean, messy, and unprepared, then the reverse happens. The evil angel says the same blessing and the good angel must agree with Amen. The Talmud says that ministering angels are created out of a stream of fire. They sing, that is to say, they do the assigned task, and then they disappear. Another interpretation is that every physical movement in the universe is considered an utterance of God. And moreover, every movement in the universe is accompanied by a new angel. It is also said that when someone prays in earnest, the angel that accompanies this person embrace and purify him or her. So that's the lesson. Huh? Do the housework. Right. So let's turn to page 78. Yedid Nefesh. Soul's beloved source of mercy, draw your servant to your will. Let me leap like a deer to stand in awe before your glory. Your love is sweeter than the taste of honey. Nefesh Avarachaman Shochav Lecha Eretz Onecha Yarutz Avlecha Lemoayan Yishtachavei El Muladarecha Yeravro Yedidotecha Vinofetzuf Bechol Ta'am Yalai la 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 Yalai la 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 Yalai la 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 Yalai la 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 Yalai la 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 Yalai la 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 יעלנה, ובחוס חביב עלי, את סוכת שלומה. תאירת מכבודך, נגילה ונשמחה בה. מה אראו כי במועד וחוננו כי מעולם. ירלי לה לה לה, ירלי לה לה לה, ירלי לה 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 לה, ירלי לה לה לה, ירלי לה לה לה, ירלי לה 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 לה, ירלי לה 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 לה, ירלי לה לה לה, ירלי לה 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 לה, ירלי לה 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 לה, ירלי לה לה לה. לחדידי, page 91. Come, my friend, the bride to meet, the Sabbath day in joy to greet. לחדודי לקראת כלה, שבת מקבלה. לחדודי לקראת כלה, לשבת נקבלה. שמעו וזכרו בדיבור אחד, ישמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם תפארת ולתהילה. לחדודי לקראת כלה, לשבת נקבלה. לחדודי לקראת כלה, לשבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, עם אקרוחה ברכה. מראש מקדם משוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לחדודי לקראת כלה, ולשבת נקבלה. לחדודי לקראת כלה, ולשבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בעומר קומי יורי. אורי אורי שדברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לחדודי לקראת כלה, ולשבת נקבלה. לחדודי לקראת כלה, ולשבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לחדודי לקראת כלה, לשבת נקבלה. לחדודי לקראת שבת, לשבת נקבלה. Sometimes I miss the train, huh?
I think Vince is doing it deliberately.
Really, you think so? No. Oh yes, I can see. Page 92 for Barichu, so let's stand. sovereign of the universe, whose word brings on the evening, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, whose understanding changes times and seasons, and whose will set the stars in their courses in the sky. You make day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light. You make day pass and bring on the night and separate day from night. You rule the host of heaven. We praise you, God, whose word makes evening whole.
I think we'll take that.
That's a lovely melody that was written by Dean Staker from Fincher Progressive, yes. So that they have Shabbat resold one Friday evening a month, and it's something that he wrote for this very special Shabbat with lots of musicians, and something that inspired me to bring more music to Keres. My dream would be to have every Shabbat service, a dozen of musicians. We're working on it. Huh?
Wait till we get time. Sorry.
Yeah, for next week.
You're ready to try this.
No, I don't play the violin. I used to play the oboe, but I'm not sure that was
It's like bicycle, you never forget.
a long time ago.
Long time ago. Okay, page 94, we stand.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, Ani Adonai Elohim, I am your God.
Please be seated. I didn't know this version. It's really lovely. It's beautiful. Sorry? Yes, Debbie Friedman. It's a very, very nice one. Thank you. Page 95. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, Eternal One, are our God, and we are Israeli people. You have freed us from oppressors and delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt forever to serve you in freedom. When we witness your power, we praise your name and give thanks. Willingly we accept your rule, then full of joy we sang together.
We'll try it again. How would you get on with?
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Let's read together. Grant, eternal God, that we may lie down in peace, and let us rise up to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your wise counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from sickness and war, from famine and distress, and keep us from wrongdoing. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and deliverer, a gracious and merciful God. God our going out and our coming in, but now and always may life with peace. We praise you, O God. May your shelter and peace descend on us, and all be well on earth. Please stand for the Amidah. Page 97.
Adonai sefatat tiftah ufiyah teilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elokei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elokei Avraham ve'Elokei Yitzchak ve'Elokei Yaakov, Elokei Sarah, Elokei Rivka, Elokei Rachel ve'Elokei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא לגאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ואהבה, לעוזר ומושיע מגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, עזרת שרה. אתה גיבור למען אדוני, מחייב מזמין מטרה להושיע. משיב הרוח ומורידה גשם, מזביח השמש ומוריד הטעם. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ורחמים רבים, צונן נופלים והופך עולים, ומציל אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, אישני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומנה, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצביע ישועה, ונאמן נתן לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, ואין לנו אלוהים מבלעדיך. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Please be seated. We thank you, O God, for this Sabbath day, which calls us to a closer communion with you. Though you are near to us at all times, you reveal your presence most clearly when we direct our thoughts towards you in worship and meditation. In you, O God, our humanity is exalted. You are our life. From you come its greatness, its power, its beauty. Establish in us, we humbly pray, a devotion to you that shall be firm in all the circumstances of life. May this service renew in our hearts the sense of your presence and bring us peace. I need to come back, sorry. I have to say, Vince, you have such warmth in your voice. We could listen to you the whole evening. It's true, huh?
It's beautiful.
I understand. Yeah. Thank you. Naughty angel.
Naughty angel.
Our God and God of ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments, and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, eternal one, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath.
Oh,
We give thanks that you, Eternal One, are our God as you were the God of ancestors. You are the rock of our life, the power that shields us in every age. We thank and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. We praise you, O God, source of goodness, to whom our thanks are due. Guide us in your world with good companions and good intentions. When we rise up in the morning, may we find our hearts ready to revere you. May our deepest longings be fulfilled for good. O my God, guard my tongue from speaking evil and my lips from telling lies. Even when others curse me, may my soul be silent and humble as the dust to all. Open my heart to your teaching and make me eager to do your will. Dissuade those who seek to harm me and let no other plans prevail. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my Redeemer.
Oh, say shalom b'rama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'ol Yisrael, ve'ol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Oh, say shalom shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael, ve'al yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya 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 la 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 la. Oh yeah, oh say shalom b'rama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru,
Thank you, Vince. I think we're all waiting for the hours to start. Right. Okay, Shabbat Shalom. So tonight, I was thinking that I could have a look in the special readings we have in our because we don't always use them, and I think there's so much wisdom there. And on page 461, it's the last parasha that is in one Shabbat. Actually, it's not the last parasha of the book of Deuteronomy, because there's another one called Vezot HaBracha, which is read usually on Simchat Torah, only on Simchat Torah, but there is no Shabbat Vezot HaBracha. The last Shabbat, 361. 361. What did I say? Fourth again. I have a problem with number 3, I don't know. 361. Sorry guys, I don't know, I did the same on Yom Kippur. But truth, yes, it's about truth. And I don't remember where I was. Okay, I'm going to start again. So Parasha Azinu is the last parasha of the whole cycle, the yearly cycle. The last parasha of the book of Deuteronomy, Vezot HaBracha, doesn't have a special Shabbat. It's read on Simchat Torah. Simchat Torah, which we'll do not this weekend, but the following one. Yes. So festival. It's not over, but there will be food. There will be food. So I found it very interesting that Rabbi John Rayner, who compiled this prayer book, decided actually to use as the last theme the theme of truth. Because in a way, being the last Shabbat of the year, being the first Shabbat of a new year, being the last Shabbat of a cycle and the first Shabbat of a new year, that comes just after Yom Kippur, I guess if something happened to us on Yom Kippur is that somehow we've touched a bit our own truth. And I think it's really a very powerful festival. I can't say this now that it's over. I quite dread it, the preparation and the stress and the tiredness, etc. But it's such a powerful festival. And when I went back home, I went to bed very, very early, but I felt lighter. Don't laugh, Philip. I felt really lighter. I don't need to diet anymore. I have to do some Yom Kippur during the year.
Raise you above the bed.
But you know what? Don't push. But to be honest, there's so much energy in the synagogue on Yom Kippur, but I'm sure we all felt uplifted at some point, because all these people coming together, bringing something to the collective. I mean, I felt, completely, but of course we need to calm down. And I went through what the Rabbi John Rayner has actually said about truth, because he doesn't really define what truth is. He says the truth is a divine attribute, and he gives this passage that is read on Yom Kippur, Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum Verachanun, which comes from the book of Exodus, eternal one, eternal God. So the 13 attributes of God, and God is one, God is God, is merciful, gracious, abundant in patience, love, truth, mercy, merciful, etc., etc. Truth is also a cosmic principle. I still haven't recovered from Yom Kippur. Truth is a cosmic principle, and here I got stuck here, because there are 3 iterations of the same Mishnah in a different 2 versions of the same Mishnah in different forms. Here we have Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed, and actually let me check exactly. It comes from the Pirkei Avot, it's a tractate in the Talmud that usually, and every year I want to do it, but I think this year I will stick to my decision. I want to read with you between Pesach and Shavuot, because there's nothing better, I think, in the whole Jewish literature than the Pirkei Avot. So we'll do this year, and it says, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, who lived sometime in the 1st century CE, Omer, so he said, Al Shlosha Dvarim Ha'olam Kayam, and it's not the same text. Kayam, le Kayam mean to be established. So Al Ha'emet, upon the truth, Al Adin, upon judgment, Al HaShalom, and upon peace. And then he gives a proof text, because there's always a proof text in rabbinic literature. You have, a principle, and then it's based on scripture, and it's a text that comes from Zechariah, execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates. You've got the 3 words. So that's one text that dates back to the 1st century CE. So one of the oldest texts in the Mishnah. But the one we're using, Shimon HaTzadik Hayab Misharei Knesset Agdola. So Simon the Righteous was one of the last of the great assembly, so it's somewhere in the 4th century CE. Hu Aya Omer, he used to say, it's not the same he says, he used to say, Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed, and you can say with me, Al Torah, Ve'al Avodah, Ve'al Gemilut Chasadim. So the world stands on 3 things: Al Torah, on the Torah, Al Avodah, on the service, so we can discuss it, Ve'al Gemilut Chasadim, and acts of loving kindness. So we've got 2 texts which are quite similar to each other, but very different. And they are about 3 centuries. So the idea of 3 is 3 is a number that you find very often in rabbinic literature. In a Mishnah you always have 3 propositions. It's a very important number in Judaism. Of course, it has another fate in Christianity, but Christianity took it from Judaism. 3 is, like almost. So you have thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, like in Greek philosophy. So because it corresponds more or less at the same time. So in order to reach a conclusion, you need to have, a proposition A and proposition B, and when you combine both of them, you go to proposition C. So that in the Mishnah, very often you have that. So, text from the 1st century, you have the word Kayam is established on 3 things. Emet, which is the theme of this passage. Emet, Din, Shalom, and here we have Torah, Avodah, Gemilut Chasadim. So let's try to examine what changed. Emet, 1st century, Torah, 3rd or 4th century. What happened here? Emet, Torah.
Well, from Emet to Torah?
Yes. Why?
From truth to learn?
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna present the 3 then, and then we can think together what happened. So we have Emet and Torah. Then we have Din, which is judgment. Beit Din, when you go to Beit Din, you go to the house of judgment. Din is equal or is echoed by Avodah, the service at the Temple of Jerusalem. Yeah? And you have the 3rd was Shalom and Gemilut Chasadim. Shalom, peace, Gemilut Chasadim, acts of loving kindness. I mean, the 3rd one is kind of easy to understand. If you want to have peace in your cities, to take a biblical image, if you want peace, you need to have acts of loving kindness. So I guess this one is pretty easy. But Emet Torah, Din Avodah. So truth, Torah, of course, how do we understand Torah? And Din, judgment, and service at the temple. So how do you combine, how do you link all these concepts?
One way of reading it is the first pronouncement, which has the verb, which we've translated as establish, then followed 3 centuries later by the second pronouncement, which has the verb standing.
Yeah.
They don't have to be restatements of each other, they can be independently true, because the first may be talking about what was necessary for the world to begin.
Mm-hmm.
And the second is talking about what is necessary for it to continue. The world began with the Word of God, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And you might get truth coming out through that. Correctness, I think, I'll associate with judgment, and completeness with shalom. So that's how it got going. It was good, it was correct, it was true, it was complete, but it all fell apart. And to keep it going, we need Torah and Avodah and Siddur
Yes, I like your Torah. It's really good. Yes. So you base your reflection on the verbs. The first kayem, which is to establish something,
yeah,
which is the foundation of the world, and the other one is omer, which is a kind of continuation. In order to continue, the world needs, Torah, Avodah, Gemilut Chasadim. Yeah, I really like it. Yes, really interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Great minds think alike. Yes. Okay, so if you think so, very good. I really like what you said. Emet and Torah. So Emet is this kind of concept which is very hard to grasp and to define. So what is truth? To be honest with you, because I'm really wrestling with this concept because there is a difference between truth and fact. So truth, as it's understood today, is more about the fact. It's true because you can verify it. But that kind of truth goes a bit further. It's a bit different. If we say, one of the blessings during after the Shema, good and beautiful and true, established, etc. And it starts with emet. It's true that you are all these things. But it's not a fact, because you can't factualize God. So there is something, the truth, the capital T, which is something bigger. Truth is kind of the source of everything which is good. If we take truth in this sense. Torah is the source of truth. Or truth, to follow the chronological order that Vince has explained earlier, truth is expounded or manifested in Torah. But again, it's very difficult to oh gosh, after Yom Kippur, it's a bit
It has to be belief, doesn't it? Total belief. Acceptance.
Yeah, but belief, I remember I had a friend of mine who was a psychoanalyst, and we were talking about faith, and he said to me, once you realize that faith is a belief and belief is not real, you lose faith. And I said, sorry, it doesn't work for me, but very Cartesian, French man, you can't prove it, so it doesn't exist. But there's an element of, okay, if we take truth as fact, it's true that we have days and nights. That's everywhere. It's not the same time in the world, but it's everywhere. It's true that we have, and it's true that the end of life is death.
But
Yeah.
this is not like the truth for you is different than you.
So, what kind of truth are we talking about?
And you said day and night. When you're in Norway, there's no day and night.
They still have, the length of the days is very different, but they still have, when I say day and night, I'm not saying a day is necessarily 12 hours. A day can be, like in Norway, in the winter, it can be no day. No fall.
All the truth for different people is different.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's a very interesting point. So,
what you believe, that and you think is true.
mm-hmm.
What he believes, he might think is true or not true.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I see your point, and I think you're right. So there's a truth which is not the same for all of us. We don't always have the same truth. But is it this?
Universal.
Okay, so is there the concept of universal truth is one that maybe we can bring into the conversation now. Is there something, I mean, we live in this kind of postmodern, post-truth world where, you know, someone just has to say, I am this, and you have to accept. It's a kind of, you know, there is, it's post-truth. It doesn't really matter if it's real, it's how people define themselves that is becoming the ultimate truth. And it doesn't really matter if it corresponds to something that is accepted or etc. Now, I think we're in this postmodern world where truth is really not something that we can agree on, because there is no universal truth. In the world before the modernity, at least in the Western sense of it, because in the Western civilization has created human rights that are supposed to be universal human rights. In other parts of the world, it doesn't mean anything. But you know, we say it's universal, but other people say no. So it's interesting because we are now in this world where you can have competing worldviews. I guess it's a bit what you're saying. So what do you ever think about this idea?
What idea?
About a truth that is variable geometry.
Well, yeah, because you say we live in a post-truth world at the moment. There was a pre-truth world before there was a truth world, because before scientists got going, truth was whatever the church told you was true in this part of the world.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't accept those things now as true, necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Like the world was flat.
Sorry,
Like the world was flat. People
Mm-hmm.
believed that the world was flat.
Isn't it?
Catch up, Phil.
I'm really sorry, Philip. But you reach your age and find out that the Earth is not flat.
I come here to learn that now. Well, what is it then?
Good point, because is it a universal truth that the world is round? I mean, I would say yes.
But think about truth and fact
Really
again.
round, it's sort of a bit rough and squidgy.
Lots of it.
But isn't it a question of perception? Because when you sit in a field and you look around you, you have no way to see the roundness of the
No,
Earth.
but we know it's because of science.
Yes.
So we do know that the world is a globe with
Yes.
bumps on it, and we know it's a certain amount of distance from the sun and the other planets. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we
Mm-hmm.
I think Philip said acceptance is the key.
See, I know.
For me, that's what
That's
what
chair
truth means.
is absolutely definite.
Mm.
It's a chair.
again,
It wasn't once. It wasn't. It was bits
And if a
of
tree
wood or
falls in the
bits of
forest,
wire or
then
bits of metal or fabric or things like that.
Yeah.
So it became a chair. It wasn't a chair originally. It was just some of its bits. So we're not quite sure if it is a chair really. But it isn't, is it? I mean,
this is definitely a check. Actually, no, it's not.
I can see Philip at 4 o'clock in the morning. Was it really a chair? Is it a chair? Is it not a chair?
bits of metal, bits of fabric, all a chair.
Sometimes it wasn't a chair, was it?
I sit, therefore it is.
We have a few over here.
Oh, I was just going to say, then you bring language into it as well. And we
Absolutely.
need language to call this thing
Yeah.
that in English we would call a chair.
Yeah.
But then it's, you know, based on your language, maybe it's means something different.
Yeah,
And you have
that's the chair.
perspectives and
Yeah, but there's a chair there.
and the meaning of language that you use is very different.
And there are things, aren't there, where different languages, like, doesn't the English language have about however many different terms for rain? Because we have a lot of rain, whereas other languages will have, it's either raining or it's not, whereas we have rain and drizzle and deluge and downpour and cats and dogs and...
Eskimos have so many words for snow.
Then the Eskimos have so many words for snow, apparently. And we have, I suppose we have like snow and blizzard. But yeah. So different languages does kind of create a slightly different reality, but fundamentally there are still things that are proven by science, like the world being round.
So where does God fit in all that, in this discussion?
I don't think you tell us who the rabbi.
Yeah.
Chair David chair for David the chair, but you are using as a table.
Yeah, very good point. I'm using it as a table, yes.
You are and have.
Yeah.
This is not going out online, is it?
We have 6 people on Facebook. So, do you want to contribute to this kind of mad conversation about truth?
Let's be sitting having a drink.
Yeah. A post-Yom Kippur discussion on the truth wasn't probably a very good idea.
Well, where is God in it then? 'Cause that's a very good question.
Tell me.
I don't know. I wish I did.
Yeah, okay, so,
I think they're supposed to accept in a different way than we think about those that are proven by science, which is back where you started. That,
Then you're back to my truth and your truth, aren't you?
yeah, to a certain extent. But because truth cannot always be scientifically verified, because it is a lot of it is what we accept and what we think and how we choose to live.
Okay, so I read a long time ago now, Yuval Harari, Sapiens, and he talks about the fact that as human beings, we have created these societies based on accepted narrative.
Yeah.
So, because it could be different. It's just because we accepted that. We accept, hierarchies, we accept the idea of a monarch, we accept the idea of a republic. It's a shared narrative upon which we can all agree. I mean, we try to agree, or we force, or whatever. Now, where God fits into that, I guess this is where the individual response to the idea of God is very important. We had, I think we mentioned this several times in this place, the discussion about a new Siddur for our movement, where we actually couldn't agree on the words. It was really interesting because, in a way, we put it upside down, the old conventions about how we talk about God, about the convention of languages. You talked about language, it's so important. We put everything upside down and we're a bit, okay, so how do we talk about God now? How do we express the idea of God? And I think the answer to that is very personal. Where does God fit in your life? Only you can answer that.
To internalise it,
Yeah, I think it's a very
the argument for not having but having enough room in the Siddur for different ideas.
multiple, like the American Siddur is really good for that.
Yeah.
There's a multiplicity of voices.
Almost anything you can find a set of readings you'll feel comfortable with, which also means that you get varieties from service leaders because they obviously pick the things that speak to them.
Yes.
And then the multiplicity of voices, which I think is something. The idea once it was one truth we all believed, but now we don't really agree on anything.
If you
that was always I wanted it to be a multiplicity, and that there were always the others in many conferences. But no, it has to be one. It has to be a defined theology for liberal Judaism, and it's like.
I think the theology for liberal Judaism is precisely the idea of multiplicity of voices.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Multiplicity of voices.
Yes.
People come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And accessing Judaism in different ways.
Yeah.
And increasingly, we never, a few years ago, we would have never thought that we had congregates here and congregates often. Eagerness of how we were all linked together.
That's changed so much. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So that's a long answer to your question. It's God is becoming, and in a way we're putting God as, I'm going to use gentle language now. We put God at His place, which is here, and maybe not so much in the Siddur, and certainly not as the legitimizing my authority as a rabbi, because rabbinic authority is very interesting. How we change over the centuries. You know, if you go to an Orthodox, even today, ultra-Orthodox, not maybe less Orthodox, ultra-Orthodox, the rabbi is God's on earth. And you can't say anything. You can't really contest, you know. You go away if you're not happy, and you cast away from the community.
If you're not happy, you get rid of the rabbi.
Or you get rid of the rabbi. Here, exactly what happens here. So it's, yeah, absolutely. So it's a very, very different. I found it really interesting to how people interact with rabbis sometimes. I still have sometimes, the deference, the image of a rabbi. Also because I'm a man, so it's easier to refer to me as a male rabbi, completely fucked up with an extra. But it doesn't matter, you know, this masculine image of a rabbi. And but I think
I get a lot of comments to say that you're a rabbi.
Yes.
You're really a rabbi.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be rabbis.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, I think we must accept that now today. But
I know I'm simple, but it was so much easier years and years and years ago when I thought God was a sort of an old man with a beard. Yeah. And that was God. And that was an easy image to have. Now it's so complicated.
absolutely.
You know, I mean, forget all the gender sides and alternatives like that. You're thinking of images and you're thinking of mental shapes and powers and things like that as God, and it's much more complicated. I'd rather go back to the old days personally.
No, because the multiplicity of voices is a product of democratization.
Oh my God.
You want to go back to where there's only one truth.
He's a die-hard Tory, so we can. We love our Tories.
That's what Liz Truss wants, and Putin. So we had the Enlightenment, where authority began to seep into the public at large. Equality became something that might be achieved eventually. So that's why I say the multiplicity of voices is a product of democratisation, because now everybody has the right to have an opinion. And that introduces difficulties. But if you want to get rid of that, you've got to get rid of equality.
I can't go back in time.
No.
I was saying how, as a young person, it was so simple. That was what it was, you know.
But everything, because the hierarchies were clear, there was, everybody had a place in society, whether you fit it or not. That's the thing. Janet.
Did you see Margaret's comment?
I haven't seen it today.
Okay. I wrote an email that she had, with her Torah class, she had read to them the sermon about God is an old woman. And so then she would,
old woman.
It's a beautiful sermon. You haven't read it. It's absolutely magnificent. And how it really fits. It really, I think, was for Yom Kippur. I can't remember. Yeah, pretty sure it was written for Yom Kippur originally. So she was trying to talk with them about the idea. So how does this language, thinking of God as an old woman, how is that different from the language that we have in our Siddur of God as sovereign? And then she's looking at them, they're all kind of staring at her mystified. And then she realizes that, of course, for all of them, sovereign was an old woman.
Oh yeah, of course, yes, absolutely, yes. But it's not a new idea in a way, because if you look in the Talmud, there is a midrash that talks about the Torah with 70 faces. Now 1,000 faces, but each of us look in Torah and we see something different. And it's not something new, I guess the challenge, I think we should actually finish with that now, but the challenge for us is to find, and that's the problem we're having among rabbis, how do we find commonality in diversity? How do we, and I think, to be honest, I think we're doing really great at the chaos. We have diverse community. We have multiplicity of voices, and yet we managed to find something. And I would say commonality is makom, the place. And when we can all come here, and if you want to have God with a bearded man,
No,
why not?
I said that how simple it was.
Yes,
The image of Christ.
yeah, absolutely. But you know, I remember when I started to teach in '91 in France, and between '91 and 2009 when I left, I saw the authority of teachers going downhill. In 15 years, it was completely different. So I remember my first class, I used to enter the classroom, and the pupil would stand up in silence, and one of the last said, "Oh, is he?" And this, that's an example of what's happening in authority in society. Look, one politician, they can't do their job. It's impossible. It's impossible to do that. And I'm just looking forward to seeing how Charles will manage to stay king. Because this is going to be and I think a big test will be the coronation. What kind of coronation? Because his mother believed she was chosen by God to lead the country. So that, the shift is huge.
Yes, I don't think he does. I think he just figures it was a chance of birth.
Yes, I think he's much, yeah.
It's really nice.
That's
Yeah, absolutely.
job he can, but he doesn't think.
And he presented himself as a defensor of faith. Not the faith, yeah.
Very upset, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. But, it's...
That was the right word.
Yeah. I mean, the Church of England doesn't exist. You didn't hear that. Okay, so by the way, people have left. So Helen, hello Helen. Helen's, okay, well, I love what she said. Helen, fact is to truth as data is information. That's very good. Information cannot exist without data, but data without interpretation is meaningless. Therefore, truth equals information, fact equals data. Wow. Wow, thank you, Ellen. Wow, very, very good. Wow. Okay, wow, thank you, Ellen. Thank you. Okay, I love this discussion. So we have created for ourselves a makom, which is very makom, a place. Not Macron, no. I was watching an episode of Mock the Week, I love it, it's so funny. And they called him Omicron. Right, so we're going to finish now with And Van, which is... and I never heard your music, your guitar interpretation of And Van. I always heard your piano. So page 213. Mm-mm.
213.
213.
And then all that's divided us will merge, and then compassion will be wedded to power, and then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind, and then men and women will be gentle, and of men and men will be strong, and then no person will be subject to another's will, and then all will be rich and free and varied, and then the greed of some will give way to the needs of many. And then all
probably one of the most political of all the texts of the Siddur.
Absolutely.
Someone who comes with manifesto like this has my vote.
You should go.
Yes, that's
I mean,
a
it's-
fantastic artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to look at the list of your sites. Oh gosh, what's que c'est?
I don't think there are any this week, actually, anyway.
He didn't survive the holidays, I think.
I don't think there's anyone on the list this week.
There's no one on the list this week. Okay, so I just wanted to mention Stéphane, a young man from my previous community in Lyon who decided to take his life because he couldn't live his life anymore, and it's really sad. It leaves all of us completely, with a question, what could have been done today, not yesterday. Yeah, so it's always very hard when a young person decides to finish their day so early. Is there anyone you wanted? Oh, yeah, there's.
I think those children in Thailand was just a thought.
So what happened in Thailand? So we also, Linda's mother passed away last week, and there will be some prayers at her home on Wednesday, and the funeral will be later in the month. Do you have any name, Ahmad? No?
All of them are alive.
Sorry?
All of them are alive.
So I didn't hear you. Okay, sorry. Anyone else? Okay, so we are going to say the Kaddish for these people, and so many generations of Jews. We have no one to say the Kaddish for them for loads of reasons. So we are, as we did this on Yom Kippur, we will also think of them on page 524. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemeh rabba be'alma divorach chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh b'chayechon v'yomechon ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעולם לעלמי עלמיה. יתברר וישתבר ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה על שמי לקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ביחתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן. Right, so please be seated. So tomorrow morning at 10:45 we have a Shabbat morning service. Then on Sunday at 7 p.m. we have a Sukkot service, and tomorrow morning Beitenu will decorate the Sukkah so we can do the Kiddush on Sunday.
I think you're bringing me the big rock or something.
Yeah, I thought we'd chop some of the
Hazel.
excess branches off the hazel tree and use those.
Oh, okay, yeah, nice, yeah, brilliant, thank you. Yes, we know.
Two little jobs of one. Because
When we use, yeah.
Very efficient.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. And so Sunday, 7 p.m., we have a Sukkot service here, followed by a Chavra supper. So please, if you want to come, you have to register online to give us an idea. So today's only 3 people are registered, but
I'm coming. I forgot to register.
yeah, so you coming as well? Yeah, I'm sure there will be, because people they register late to this kind of thing. So, and so we are going to celebrate the start of Sukkot, and this. I think it's one of my favorite festivals. I mean the
You like
idea.
winning the dinner.
Yes. I'm gonna get the lulav Sunday. I hope I won't forget. No, I will not forget. I will not forget. I will not forget.
You said that the other day.
What did I say, Philip?
Exactly the same thing. You said you won't forget the shaky thing.
Shaky thing. What's a shaky thing?
The lulav.
Lulav. Yes.
Yes, I forgot it.
Yeah. I haven't forgotten it yet. Okay, so Vince has prepared for us on page 525, but I think it's the last.
Yeah, it's the last verse.
The last verse of Adon Olam, Beyado afkil ruchi be'et ishan be'arira be'ruchi geviati Adonai li velo ira.
It's quite some time since we've used this tune here, so if you've forgotten all about it or never heard it, just look in your Siddur and focus on the words of the last verse of Adon Olam.
Into your hand I place my soul, asleep, awake, for you are near, and with my soul, my body too. You are my God. I shall not fear. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Thank you, Vince. Thank you very much.
Who wrote that last one?
Craig Plagman is from the Friday Night Live service.
Yes, I've got that.
Must by now be like 25 years old.
Yeah.
So thank you for all of you who joined us online tonight. I can only see a few of you, of course. So I can see Deborah, Romain, Alexander, Sandra, Michelle, Helen. So thank you for joining, and we'll see you very, very soon in Shabbat Shalom. Well, it was a nice service.
Yours?
Oh yes, yeah, thank you.